Now let's look at how you can automatically create contracts in journeys. So basically, you just need to open your contract, the Word document that you probably have for your contract, and look at all the things you're always replacing when you're creating a new contract. It's probably highlighted somewhere. And then instead of having it highlighted and changing it manually every day, then you just have it, you just add in a variable, like you can see here. I've added, like within curly brackets, a name and an email, phone. So this will be replaced with a variable in the journey, in the process. So for example, you know the candidate's name and the email, so it would be automatically replaced. You can just name the variable here anything you want, just something that describes what you're doing. Just keep it in a lowercase and no special letters and so on. Just something similar to this. And then we go, once we've put up this contract, we go into journeys. So here in the section where we have our journeys, we have our documents section in each workspace. So you're just gonna add your document, then you just upload the Word file that you just created. Just give it a name and some description and save it. And then you can view it here. You can preview it by filling out like how would it look if the name was John and so on. You can preview it and see how it would look. Okay, yeah, it looks great. The employee name looks like this, the email is here. So then the contract is in the system and we can use it in a journey. So let's say I have a journey here just to create the employee contract. Then I just click the plus icon here. I find the contract that I just created, the document. And here it is. And then the contract is here. I can check if it's the right contract that I'm using. And then I just need to map in the fields. So for example, if this is the candidate is going through this journey, then I just map in the name, their full name. Here I add their email and so on, the phone, and maybe some monthly salary that I would have gotten from the manager somewhere in the journey. So I just save this, and now this contract is going to be automatically created as a part of the journey. Usually, when we're creating the contract or documents, the next step is often to change them into a PDF. Because this creates a Word document, and often you just want to have it as a PDF ready for e-signing or something like that. So then you just field map find the document that you just created, this file, and add it into this section to create it to change it into a PDF. And just to note here, in the advanced section, you can rename the document output. So let's say maybe you want to have this a more descriptive name. For example, you could want to call this like an employee contract, and then you want to add the name of the person. Then this will say employee contract John Smith or something. In some cases, this is enough. You just have to create a document, save it somewhere. But sometimes you want to add it into e-signing. And then you just find your e-signing provider in the integrations. Let's say, for example, it's DocuSign here. You just send the document to e-signing, and then you just need to map the contract in here. So I'm using this converted document and adding it as the file content. And then you just once add the recipients, and then it automatically sends the contract to e-signing and so on when you run this process. And then if you need to update your documents, that is also very simple. I just went back to the contract. When I click here, I can edit this contract. I can start with downloading it. I would usually do that. So I would download it to my computer, and then I would edit it, the Word document, and then I would just replace it here and add it back in here. And it's not going to change anything, and it's just going to update everywhere in the processes where this contract is being used. One thing to mention here is that you can also have conditions in the contracts. So for example, let's say you're creating an employment contract, and if this is a supervisor, then they get something for free on extra clause, or they need extra insurance. So then you can have some conditions in the contract, so you're not displaying the same things for everyone. But there will be a separate video on that, since that can get a little bit complex